Good Tuesday, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center with your live update. Taking a look here at the Doppler radar across, it looks like North Florida and South Georgia here, where we do have some showers and thunderstorms on the board. We are seeing some lightning, in fact, as we get down toward Gilchrist, Alachua counties right now. So let's go ahead and zoom on in just a little bit here. You'll be able to see what we're talking about as we're looking north of Newberry there, getting there west of Hale, and even also there west of Bell. You see some heavier downpours in the picture. East of Bell, a rogue lightning strike in that vicinity in Gilchrist County. So just kind of giving you guys an idea of what's going on here on this Tuesday. Again, watching that radar picture here, we see a little bit of wind energy, nothing too impressive, but maybe a little bit of gusty wind action. I know we've seen some gusty winds here with this overall pattern in some spots, but again, just kind of giving you guys an idea of what's going on with the Doppler radar imagery as we get down there toward areas of Gilchrist and Alachua County. Again, as we are watching things, I know many of you headed home from work there as we're around our region here, so just something that could be a little bit of an inconvenience. You see a little bit of a sour trying to get going off toward the east here as we're looking, I know, toward parts of Putnam County there west of Palatka, but then even a heavier shower here toward Waldo. You see, this is pretty heavy as we're getting there toward, it looks like Tree Farm Road. Also over there, it looks like we do have some other roads in here as well that are being impacted, like County Road 1475. So again, just giving you guys an idea of what's going on here with this quick downpour. Not going to be sitting over the area too long, but I know you see that flash flood warning, or excuse me, flash flood watch thing there at the top of the screen, indicative of that threat for flash flood warnings to be issued eventually here for parts of the area. Haven't seen any of those yet, though, so that's some good news here as we are looking here right at this moment. As we look toward tomorrow, though, we could have some more rain coming into the picture toward Tallahassee, so something we'll have to monitor for sure, because we could have some excessive rainfall in spots, and slight risk excessive rainfall there for some. So just to kind of keep an eye on the situation more out toward Tallahassee. Rain chance is going to be kind of high here tomorrow out there, a little lower to the east, but seeing a little more of that moisture maybe spread on off. So that'll be something we'll see here as we're looking ahead. I know we'll have that information here broken down in that full forecast in just a moment. But again, just watching the weather situation here. Again, that flash flood watch to the west that goes until later on tomorrow. So just got to be aware of that potential here for quite a bit of rain in a short period of time. In fact, let's go ahead and jump on over right now to our 12-hour rainfall estimates here, our rainfall amounts. Let's go ahead and kind of see what's going on here as we are looking across our region. You guys will kind of get an idea of what we're talking about toward Wakulla County. For instance, we'll zoom in a little bit tighter over there. You see some of these orange areas closer to 5 inches here in isolated spots, but a lot of spots here seeing quite a bit less toward Tallahassee, maybe an inch or two here in a few neighborhoods, but toward downtown Tallahassee, we're talking about lesser amounts there in general. So that's some good news, obviously, as we go ahead and zoom on out just a little bit here. Again, showing you guys the grand scheme of things. You see some of that lightning there toward Gilchrist County. Just keeping our eyes on the weather situation here at large. I know as we zoom out a little bit more, you do see a couple severe thunderstorm warnings in toward parts of Arkansas right now, and even one of those extending into toward parts of northwestern Mississippi at this hour. So something I'll be watching there. These storms here have that for some quarter-size hail there in general. So just got to be kind of aware of that, more of that type of threat than anything. The marginal risk here as we pop that on up a little more off toward the east in general. You can kind of see what we're talking about with this. Oxford, Tupelo, Jackson, Meridian. I know tomorrow there's a risk in toward areas around Birmingham. Could have a quick spin-up tornado. Probably talking about some other severe hazards more in terms of the overall parameters of those developing, and then an isolated tornado threat. I know also watching areas there as we get off toward the Arklamis. We did have a severe thunderstorm warning earlier there as we're looking towards southern Arkansas. And I know one tool that's really valuable to use in these situations is the Uom Radar. This radar site can kind of give us a better visual on what's going on. I know this is especially valuable in tornadic situations. So let's go ahead and pop this up now. It's something that'll be really helpful here to use when severe storms are erupting, especially tornadic storms, because we would maybe get a better idea of if there's a debris signature on a storm. Just looking a little bit lower there with the beam height. That's really important here. There, as we're looking at areas there toward the Arklamis. I know that even a TV station there in West Monroe has their own radar as well, and it's valuable valuable too, because it's able to give us a really good look at these storms to be able to see exactly what's going on in these type of weather situations as they do evolve. So just want to kind of give you guys that information here, and that's something that is really helpful for sure. But now let's go ahead and move away from this. We'll go back on over to some other visuals that we have here of the area, of our local area at this time. You do see again that storminess there near I-75 in Alachua County, something that's pretty nasty but not severe in nature. That's the good news, obviously, but we'll continue to watch things here as they do matriculate, as they do develop, to see how they're moving. You can again see a little bit of that wind energy pretty far away, but you see that moving more off toward the north. We'll have to see if we get some type of significant weather advisory, something like that here out of this axis a little bit later on as this moves maybe closer toward Lake City, something like that here, as again we're in that I-75 area affecting those heading home plans there at about 5:30 on a Tuesday. So now let's go ahead and pop up some other visuals we have. I know we had that rain there toward Tallahassee earlier. Things a little bit better now, but let's pop up the FSU Weather Stem camera. You'll kind of see what's going on toward Tallahassee. You can kind of see here with that flash flood watch in play, seeing the skies here pretty dark out there. More rain's on the way, maybe tomorrow morning, early tomorrow afternoon. Just got to be aware there if you're at FSU, FAMU, or TCC, or just have any plans there in the capital city tomorrow. Just got to be cognizant. There could be some heavy downpours, even some lightning or a quick strong thunderstorm erupting there as well. Just even with the heavy rainfall, that could lead to some flooding concerns, as we do have again that flash flood watch in play. We'll go ahead and take you on a little camera tour of Tallahassee now and take you over toward the northeast Tallahassee camera right over there. As we get further on off, you'll be able to see what's happening there. Again, the darker skies in play. And then our third camera here will be the Challenger Learning Center one. This kind of takes us back in between the two, really, to give you guys an idea as we're kind of getting that consensus on the viewpoint. And again, a pretty gloomy look to the sky, even though not as much rain around at the moment there in Leon County. So let's give you guys that visual, and then we have another visual toward Jacksonville. The baseball grounds, no flash flood warning off to the east, but that is an interesting shot with the sun there kind of reflecting off the river there in the River City. You kind of see what's happening there. Some of those darker skies there in the picture. So again, there's something to kind of be mindful of here as we are looking around the region, seeing some of the storminess, but not really seeing too much toward Jacksonville. So that's some good news at this moment. But I do notice that we do have a tornado warning in Arizona, which is pretty unusual. So let's go ahead and touch on that right now. There is some storminess out that way. So let me go ahead and get a couple things set up real quick. That tornado warning just popped up right after I came on here, but I know we have quite a few warnings in the state of Arizona. I know they're home to the only undefeated NFL team right now, the Arizona Cardinals, starting that season 4-0, but unfortunately having to deal with the consequences here of some storms at this moment. So let's go ahead and say that here under their source. You can see in that pink color there, that's the severe thunderstorm watch that's going to be in play here until about 8 o'clock Mountain Time tonight. And then we have some severe thunderstorm warnings here. You see one of those in yellow, that's a base severe thunderstorm warning, but then a considerable damage severe thunderstorm warning as we get east of Phoenix there, parts of Maricopa County included there. Golf ball size hail and 70-mile-an-hour wind gust. One toward parts of southeastern Arizona, parts of Graham, it looks like in Cochise counties there involved. And then we have the tornado warning in play issued by the Flagstaff office just a few minutes ago. A possible tornado there over Christopher Creek or 9 miles west of Forest. So got to be kind of mindful of that potential. I know even a flash flood warning here in this zone as well in east central Arizona. Considerable damage possibilities there. So pretty active day in the state of Arizona. Slight risk, which you don't always get out that way. And I know I can even break down that tornado warning storm a little bit further. I'm going to go over to our Flagstaff radar right now. You'll kind of get an idea of what's happening there. And you'll be able to see a look at things into where this area. That's pretty tight rotation. I know it looks like we're getting into a pretty mountainous area, but still, that's pretty tight rotation here for the state of Arizona. I mean, we have gate to gate over 80 miles an hour here. So I got to be really cognizant. May not be completely aligned, but could have some issues with the exact viewpoint again, maybe looking a little bit higher up with this. But again, just got to be kind of cognizant. We're pretty close to the radar overall, but I mean, the terrain effects could have an impact on the radar imagery here. So I just got to be kind of mindful of that. Let's check for any debris signature here. I'm not used to tracking tornado warning storms in Arizona, but a little bit of something maybe is possible. Can't completely rule out. There might be a little dropout in there. Let me pop a little red marker on that and go between. There could be something there, but again, you can't really tell for sure. Again, we're in a terrain type zone, but get a tornado warning in parts of Arizona right now. This is pretty unusual. Possible tornado there in these communities here over the next little bit. A bunch of campgrounds involved in this. We have, it looks like the Forest Road, a 9,350 campground, the Forest Road 169 campground, Spillway campground, as well as it looks like a few more in here. I'll just kind of read off a couple more here. We do have Woods Canyon Lake campground and then a Crook campground as well. So just kind of giving you guys an idea. I don't want to be out on a campground with a tornado potentially coming through for sure as we're looking toward parts of Arizona. Again, not far from Flagstaff. Arizona, I know, looking ahead toward the pattern next week, could end up having a little bit of a shift here with a severe threat over parts of our nation as we get closer toward the Midwest, maybe, and then maybe some wintry weather as we get further off toward the west. So something to kind of keep an eye out for. I know sometimes in Arizona, even not necessarily in this setup, but in some setups you can get snow there. I know late in the year. It kind of surprises me in a way. You wouldn't think of Arizona as a state that would have snow, but something that's interesting to think about here in that they can get that here part of the year. So again, zooming on out, I mean, I'll even see some of these current temperatures here in the state of Arizona right now. You kind of get an idea of what's going on there at the present time. We'll kind of see some of those different readings if we can, and you do see some cooler temperatures here toward the North 48 as we get toward Grand Canyon National Park Airport. So just kind of giving you guys an idea of what's going on. Let's try that again. A pretty big temperature contrast, or a big difference there between that at 48-degree reading there toward the north and 83, 88 even toward parts of the Phoenix and metro area there toward Maricopa County. So again, just giving you guys an idea of what's going on there. Let's go ahead and go over to the graphics now as we do move along in this show now. Kind of get you into that forecast cycle. You'll see what's going on here. As we look ahead now, you do see our tropical climatology, assuming that peak of hurricane season has passed. But as we all know, Michael 3 years ago, Matthew 5 years ago, you can have storms that are very impactful this time of year in October. But luckily right now, the board is clear of any active tropical systems. Only one area that has a 10% chance of development in the next 5 days here as we're looking off toward the east here of the Carolinas. Something will be kind of monitoring as we look ahead in toward the timeline for sure. So I just kind of stay tuned from that aspect, but not a big deal right now. The last name left on the first list here that we'll use is Wanda. After that, a supplemental name list will be used here by the National Hurricane Centers. The Greek alphabet has been retired, and now under that rainfall forecast here locally, again, that flash flood watch continues for Tallahassee, for Leon County there. So we're talking about all the different high schools involved with that. Godby High School, Lincoln High School there. Just giving you guys an idea. Everybody's involved with that potential. Don't know where the rain could set up. Honestly think it might be a little further up toward the southwest, toward Wakulla County or Liberty County, as you see with our rainfall forecast, with much of this expected to fall maybe even tomorrow toward the Tallahassee area. So got to watch out toward North Georgia here, toward eastern Tennessee, toward Asheville, North Carolina there as well, as we could have quite a bit of rain. And then you see that rain off the east coast. That's going to be from our potential tropical system trying to emerge there later on in toward the period. So keep an eye on that. I know you have cloudweather.com/radar as we go over to the extended forecast now. 60% chance of rain tomorrow, 50% on Thursday, 60% Friday. So going up just a little bit here. As we do look ahead in toward the timeline, you see 84 tomorrow, 87 on Thursday. Just giving you guys an idea of those readings. You see with a little less rain around, we'll warm up some. But now I know a lot of you with that interest in that. You have homecoming parade on Friday, the game on Saturday. I know I went to FSU, but I got to go ahead and include UF here because so many of you care about what's going on down there toward Gainesville. So I just got to be kind of mindful of that. We had that rain chance around on Friday for sure. On Saturday, I'm hoping we won't have as much of that rain in the picture, maybe as we're looking ahead toward the game, but it's a little too uncertain to kind of rule out anything. I did go up a little just based on some of our numerical guidance, really going high on Saturday, but the actual models that we look at, the visual model, data there, kind of showing a little bit less of a chance. Just wanted to err on the side of caution to go up to 50, but may end up being able to drop that back down here later on. But Friday looks like the more concerning day, but as we know, it takes just a little bit of storminess to impact the game, or you might get lucky like they did down toward Gainesville with the Alabama game. I mean, they had all that storminess after. If the game would have been at night, it would have been a problem. But it was during the late afternoon, so they were able to get things in. It's about the time in relation to the location and in relation to the location of the storminess. So got to bear that in mind here. You see, though, clearing out some toward early next week with those lower rain chances and temperatures trying to increase again, a little above average in terms of those highs. And you see a little more of a temperature contrast indicating some drier air trying to filter on in here. When you have that a bigger difference there between the temperatures, that's indicative of that drier air around those lower dew point values. So I just want to be kind of interested in that here as you kind of think about meteorology, trying to give you guys some different meteorological lessons, talking about radar beam height today there with the Uom Radar out toward the west, and then just kind of closing that gap really as they do have that in severe weather because they have other radars around, but they're so high up it's harder to see maybe a tornado reaching the surface. And then as you have again with this forecast here, going to keep our eyes on the weekend because it's about time and place really with the storminess. So that pretty much does it. You see a possible tornado there in Arizona, TVS signature, which is very unusual to see, honestly, out toward Arizona. So we're going to zoom back in on that real quick. You have the little hook on there even, not as much rotation in the velocity mode, but it's something kind of intriguing to see here within the Doppler radar. I know as we go back over toward a regional viewpoint, we'll go ahead and go on over toward our Geo-Earth computer now. I know we'll be watching to see if we need to break back in tomorrow for anything. Didn't have to break in for any local alerts today. Didn't have any flash flood warnings in our local area today, but can't rule out something tomorrow. Might just post about it, might break in depending on the level of severity. You do see a flash flood warning toward areas there around Macon. They had quite a bit of rain there earlier. As you see, those rainfall amounts up toward Bibb County there. Something that they've been having to deal with for sure in that region, but they've dried out for now. But we'll watch to see if more rain filters back in later on as we're watching the weather picture again. Some of that storminess moving toward the north there from the Trenton Gainesville area, more closer in there toward Lake City here than anything in Gainesville. We hadn't got into too much rain here as we're looking over even the last hour more. That's staying off toward the west there as we get in there a little bit tighter toward Newberry, but at least parts of Alachua County getting into some of that. So we'll be watching things that flash flood watch more toward Tallahassee, toward McCulloch County, our Big Bend area, not including areas towards Stark, Gainesville, Jacksonville, or South Georgia, but we'll watch to see if we'll get a little bit heavier rain into some of these communities here. But the precipitable water situation there with those values a little bit higher off toward the west could lead into some of the heavier downpours that could cause some flash flooding. So we'll keep an eye on things. Thanks so much for joining us and have a great night.